Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Josh Kreimeyer. I'm a professor. I bring greetings from Colorado, U.S. I'm also a licensed counselor and a family therapist. So let's see if I say it right. Ladies, Imati, Shamogi Kale. I'm here to talk today about a very important topic and one that is also very difficult to hear about. It is about caring for ourselves as people that care for other people. The importance of caring for ourselves is critical. I just want to show a quick picture of my family. They told me to say hello. And also, I use a few examples from my own experience so you'll know who I'm talking about. Okay, good. Okay. So the objectives for my talk are to understand better the toll, the impact of working with trauma and suffering. And I'm going to use a term that's a little bit different than burnout, called compassion fatigue. I'll talk about that shortly. And also compassion satisfaction. And I'd like to end with some self-care awareness and some actions, specific examples of how to better care for ourselves. So the picture here is really the primary objective. Whenever you go on an airline flight, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on before you help other people. Right? That is the image I'd like you to have. That in order for us to take care of other people, we need to take care of ourselves first to do that most effectively. So just a couple of quotes to get us started. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. This is a good reminder. And one more, I have this in my office as a reminder to be centered and grounded. A picture of the universe with the phrase that says, "You are here." One of our earlier presenters talked about the power of perspective. So this is one of the ways that I try to keep my own perspective grounded. So somebody talked about trauma earlier. I'm just going to review a little bit because we work with trauma and traumatized people. It impacts us too. So medically, trauma is a physical wound. Psychologically, it's an extraordinary, frightening, life-threatening event or series of events. One definition of trauma. Trauma can cause temporary or permanent stress disorder. One of the best ways to think about trauma comes from this idea that we categorize trauma as a capital T trauma, which involves real threat to your life in some way. So when people think about car accidents, people think about combat trauma, think of that as capital T. But trauma is also small t trauma, which is anything from somebody saying something that hurts your feelings to something that has an impact on you and your stress response increases without an actual threat to your life. But it's still trauma, and your mind and your body still respond to it in the same way. This is a list of physical, cognitive, emotional, and behavioral symptoms of trauma. The interesting thing is that in working with trauma, we as providers and helpers start to see some of these symptoms ourselves. There's terms called vicarious trauma or secondary trauma. This is what we say when we work with trauma, that we're at risk for these things and experiencing these symptoms. These symptoms, working with trauma affects us, again, as providers and helpers. It affects our mind, our body, and our spirit. So as I talk about examples about how to take care of ourselves, this is what I'd like us to think about. Treating ourselves in these three areas. Okay. This is my favorite slide related to trauma. It just shows where trauma lives in the world. This is the limbic system, highlighted in red. One of my favorite things to show people, I use this with children that I treat all the way up to adults. If you take your hand and put it up, and you put your thumb over your palm, and then wrap your fingers over your thumb, it kind of looks like your brain. And if you lift your fingers up, you see your thumb is shaped almost exactly like the limbic system. When we're having a trauma response, this is where we live. We're in the middle of our brain. A lot of the treatment that we talk about with trauma therapy is trying to get the outside of our brain, the thinking part of our brain, engaged, so that we're not as much inside of our limbic system. This is for clients and patients that we work with, but also for us. One of my favorite psychologists in the world is Dr. Carolyn Lee. And she just says where your mind goes, your brain follows. So the more you can activate the rational thinking brain, you can calm our brain. It'll follow our mind. So one of our other things talk about this power of perspective. So this is the Chinese symbol for the word crisis. And it's comprised of two separate symbols. The first one is danger. So when you have a crisis, this is the side we usually focus our perspective on, the danger or the negative perspective. The second part of this word in Chinese, though, represents opportunity. So it has both of those meanings in the word. And a lot of trauma research right now is looking at this instead of assuming that to be traumatized means that you will have ongoing disorders such as PTSD. It's looking at post-traumatic growth, that from a trauma you can emerge stronger than before. And that's a very powerful perspective. So, talk a little bit about the mind. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about the body. One of the more common trauma theories that's out there right now is called Polytheism Theory, and it deals with the vagus nerve. So when we try to treat trauma, one of the people I'm using here is Dr. Bessel Vanderpoel. And he talks a lot about this, that we can treat our clients or our patients and ourselves through the vagus nerve by, here's some examples: splashing cold water on your face, meditation, humming can actually help reduce the trauma response. Slow, rhythmic, and diaphragm breathing, and speaking very calmly. When I do this presentation, I kind of have the same rhythm that I use in therapy sometimes. I realize that when there's translation involved, I try to speak a little slower for the translators. And it's also what I do in therapy to try to help get control of the client's brain, to help them calm down and tap into the vagus nerve. So one more thing you can do with the body. This is a common technique that some of you may know. I call it the 5 phase. And you just help people you're working with having a trauma response, including ourselves, when we're impacted by the work we do, to take a deep breath and then focus on 5 things you can see. You move around the room very slowly. Just notice things you can see and pause on each of those things. 4 things you can touch that are around you. 3 things that you can hear. 2 things you can smell. And 1 thing you can taste. This is not scientifically researched. You could change these up, right? You don't have to worry about remembering that specific order, but this is how we treat the body. One example of how we treat the body. And I'm putting this one down, again, mind, body, spirit. I'm putting this one down as a title, Treating Spirit. I do a lot of play therapy with children that have experienced trauma. And I also use those same techniques with adults. And part of why I do that is because it's fun. I get paid to do it. But when I found this research, it blew my mind that research has shown that it takes 400 repetitions to create a new synapse in the brain by traditional methods of psychology. But if it's done, or also called experiential therapies, it takes between 10 to 20 repetitions. So when I have traumatized adults come in, and I bring out a sand tray or other play therapy techniques, they look at me funny, and I say, that's okay. I'm here to treat your trauma. And then treat it faster. Okay. Compassion, pardon me 1 second. Okay, much better. Just need a sip of water. So, compassion fatigue and compassion satisfaction. I'm going to get into this first. Everybody in the world has stress, right? And again, one of our presenters talked about that. And I would argue that anybody that gets involved with the world can also suffer burden. This idea of compassion fatigue has been called the cost of caring. The cost of caring. And it was dubbed by a guy named Charles Figley. And he started a group called the Green Cross Academy of Traumatology. So if you're interested in learning more, if you haven't heard this term, this is where it comes from. It is the cost of caring, and it's a normal reaction from our exposure to people that are suffering, that we work with. It's more than normal stress. It becomes unmanageable. And where we as helpers are unable to shape the impact of the stories that we do. It's a state of tension and preoccupation with the trauma stories that occur. And then we start to have providers re-experience some of the stories that occur, which when we're dealing with patients, we call flashbacks, that we start to have as a symptom. And you can also avoid, which is again another symptom of someone who's exposed to trauma. So here's just some of the other symptoms. You start to feel separated from other people. You become irritable. We're easily startled. We work hard to avoid our own feelings about the work we do. Our sleep is disturbed. We can have nightmares. And we can feel tired but unable to relax. I'll tell you one example of what my oldest daughter said to me one time. She said, Dad, when you go to work, you help other people all day long. And when you come home to us, it's like you have nothing left to give to us. That was like a knife in my heart. And I was very thankful, though, that I had that feedback, because I was starting to have some of the symptoms. Just a few more ideas on how to know your compassion fatigue. We start to feel our work is hopeless, and we're not actually having the impact that we like to. We become disillusioned or resentful of our work. We start to lack compassion towards other people. And again, we play the trauma stories. And we can actually start to use substances in excess our own by cope. I know one time when I had some compassion fatigue failure in my life, I recognized it because I had so many clients coming in to see me, and I had a no-show. Somebody called and said they were canceling their appointment, and I celebrated that. When I celebrated them not coming in, I knew that meant that I was burning out. So I've already said that working with trauma makes us more susceptible to compassion fatigue, but what else contributes to it? The kinds of patients that we work with. I worked in our department of Veterans Affairs, and I worked with exclusively families that came back from Iraq and Afghanistan. So I had almost 200 patients that I saw on my caseload, and they were all dealing with extremely high levels of trauma. So that put me at kinds of patients. So the number of patients, the quantity, and the quality of them. I'm sure that this translates cross-culturally, that paperwork and other administrative demands put on extra stress on kids. We're dealing with clients who experience life or death, and then somebody comes and says, did you get that report done? You file that paper the right way? And you think not nice things about that person. That's okay. And ultimately, compassion fatigue, we put ourselves at risk because of lack of self-care. We think we can take on every problem, and that we're immune from being impacted by it. So is compassion fatigue and burnout preventable? I would say yes and no. You do have to learn to recognize the symptoms, and they're going to be a little bit different for each person. Everybody experiences this a little bit different. But you have to know when you're not being your optimal self. This next point is very difficult. We have to be able to listen to the concerns of our colleagues and loved ones, those around us. When my daughter told me what she told me, I could have very easily just said, that's too much, I can't deal with it. But I listened to what she said, and I started to get some help for myself. We have to be open to accepting help. I'm going to say this again, I want to make sure everybody hears this. We are not removed from the impact of the work dealing with our own lives, having gone through COVID. We are all traumatized. Every human being on the planet has been traumatized. And we have other things that have happened in our lives too. So we have to be open to accepting help. I would write a prescription for everybody here if I could, for what I'm going to talk about. We have to be willing to take breaks during the day. We also have to be willing to take bigger breaks. Okay, so this is what I wanted to get to. I have a few slides about some very specific ideas for self-care. So when I first learned about compassion fatigue, I thought they were just going to say, eat a good diet, exercise, think happy thoughts. I thought that was what I would get. I've learned some very powerful techniques that are outside of what you might expect. So the first is to review our responsibilities. You got to write down what you're doing and understand if it's too much. There's only 24 hours in the day, and sometimes dealing with the passion is taking some things off of our plate. I recommend that everybody start a self-care idea collection. I've got a jar in my office where I write down things that I like to do. And if I'm ever thinking, I don't know how to take care of myself, I pull something out of that jar. Get ideas from other people too. We have to be willing to rebalance our work. We have to look at ways that we can fit more in less time. And I'll talk about some specific ideas. We also have to ask other people for help. This one's very difficult. I would recommend that we all, in working with any kind of traumatized population, we have to have transition from work to home. One of the things that I would do when I was at my worst, and I had the most burnout, is I had to stop before I left my office. I would take a deep breath. I would imagine all of the negative energy from the day that I had dealt with, and I'll kind of visualize it in my hands in front of me. And then I would shoot it into the garbage can like a basketball. And I would say, I'm leaving it here. I'm leaving it at the office. There's nothing I can do with it bringing it home with me. I'm going to keep it here. I did that every day. And that helped a lot. My family started to recognize that I was more present with them. I felt better. And my dog would actually, the biggest sign was that my dog would come towards me, not run away from me when I got home. I knew things were working. We also have to learn to say no. Very powerful tool. And we have to assess our trauma inputs. So I want to give everybody here a free tool that's accessible online, and it's called the ProQual. So I'll spell it out. It's spelled P-R-O-Q-O-L. P-R-O-Q-O-L. You can search that and find it. It's in every language. It's in Russian, Ukrainian, sure it's in Italian. So this is how we assess how we're doing. It's a very short assessment, and it tells you how much compassion fatigue you have, and on the other side, it gives you a score on your compassion satisfaction. These are the two diametrically opposed or opposite ideas that this assessment covers. So that's how you assess it. So we have to develop an early warning system. We have to be more aware of our own level of stress and what that looks and feels like for us. We need to take time to grieve the losses that we experience. And you need to know a method of relaxation and stress reduction. Okay, let's get through a couple of these slides. All right, people ideas. The overall strategy to battle compassion fatigue is that we have to boost our compassion satisfaction. One of the most powerful ways to do this is to write and then reflect on a mission statement. I have my mission statement written in my office. And it says, the first line of it is, my goal is to reduce the amount of pain and suffering in the world. Just that first line helps me connect with my mission and my purpose. I read that every day before I start with it. And it gives me a sense of satisfaction because I know I'm doing what I was called to do. Especially going through COVID, we have to build and rebuild our, what I call our tribe, a group of people that can help you connect to your mission. We have to be very intentional about connecting. And some of the aspects in connecting with other people that are helpful are accountability. They keep us accountable. If we need help, they'll tell us. And also remind us to be grateful for all the blessings in our lives. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. All right, but what I do want to talk about is I recommend for everybody that we write a treatment plan for ourselves. Nothing is dynamic. Nothing will matter in your life until you make it specific. So I recommend that you write this down. You actually take time to write a treatment plan for yourself. And the three pieces that I recommend, that the titles for you are your mission statement, some kind of a gratitude exercise, some kind of exercise you find that helps you feel grateful for what you do. And then having some specific treatment plan goals for your mind, your body, and your spirit. And I will share a few ideas in this section. So again, we have to, with this plan, also assess, diagnose, and then treat ourselves as helpers of people. So here are some other things to consider in your self-treatment plan. What am I like when I'm well? When things are going well, when I'm good, what does that look like? That's the target that I'm shooting for. I think it's good to start from a positive perspective like that rather than what are the problems? What are things that I need to do every day? Little things that I have to do. One of the things I do every day is I don't see more than 3 clients in a row. And after that third client, I take a break. I shut my door to my office. I lay on the floor. I put my hands over my ears. And I close my eyes and I just breathe for like 5 minutes. When we work with people, we're being stimulated all day long. So I feel like every day, the more people you work with, the more you have to have that quiet time and shut down. What are things you might need to do on a particular day? I get a massage every 2 weeks. I'd like to do it every 2 weeks. What are your triggers? What are the specific things that you elevate your anxiety response? And what is your action plan for those things? So a couple more thoughts. We have to remember that our reactions to things in life are modifiable. In making your plan for yourself, you can think about different experiences in life and categorize them as red, yellow, or green. So much of life, we have things that come to us and we react to them as if they're red. Red is a life threatening. Anybody that works in emergency care knows this strategy, that you triage things that come to you, because not everything is a red and we can't function that way. We have to categorize the next level of yellow, things that are serious but not immediately life-threatening. And things that are green are relatively minor. And we act differently towards them. Okay, I'm going to, for the sake of time, move on. Somebody talked about resilience earlier too. The word that I've been studying, that I've seen more in research recently, is actually called, I hope this translates, grit. I'm not sure how that translates, but resilience and grit are roughly the same thing. So another idea in treating ourselves is how do we improve our own level of resilience and grit. This idea of grit has been seen in research as the most accurate predictor of success in life. There's a researcher who studied different groups from kindergarten students all the way up to military cadets. And she was trying to find out what made them successful. She didn't use across the lifespan what made them successful. She settled on, after several longitudinal studies, this idea of grit. So what do you do in your plan to have grit? To have passion and perseverance for long-term goals. For having stamina. And sticking with your future goals day in and day out. Be very focused on those goals. And what can you do to make your future a reality? Okay. Stress management is a part of self-care. So these are all good ideas to consider in your own planning. What can you do for your sleep, to get better sleep? One of the best things you can do for sleep is having a regular go to bed and get up time every single day, regardless of how you feel. Diet and nutrition, you need to cut out the sweets like I do. Exercise and movement, are you getting that in every day? And laughter and social support. What are you doing to get those into your life today? All right, a few more ideas. Again, take a break every single day. Give yourself a treat or something special at least once a month. Give yourself permission to cry. It's okay to be impacted emotionally from the work that you do. It's okay for a psychologist to get their own therapy. I give you permission to do that. So you can seek professional help whenever needed. There's other community resources too that things we might refer our clients to that we can do for ourselves. All right. So one final activity that we have for self-care. This is a quick game. It's called How Important Is It? I'd like everybody in the room to think of a stressful situation that you have going on within the last week. I work with people, so I'm assuming, making an assumption that we all have stress, right? But think of it, take a minute and just reflect on that stressful moment in your life. And as you think about that stressful event, I want you to think of a number between 1 and 10, 1 being the least problematic that that problem is, or one that's not very stressful, and a 10 would be the most stressful thing you've ever endured in your entire life. Where would you rate that stressful event, that recent stressful event? So think of that number, hold on to that number. And as we think of that number, we have to ask ourselves, is this situation important to me and the people I love? Will it still be important tomorrow or next week? Is it an emergency or will it resolve itself in time? Is there anything I can do to change it? And will getting angry help anything? Thinking about this situation, can I see any humor? Now that we've gone through those questions, rate that stressful situation 1 through 10. I hope that it didn't get worse so that you make that problem now. Normally it comes to knock it down with a few numbers. So my final word of inspiration for everybody is one of my favorite quotes from Gandhi to remind us of all the mission and the purpose that we all have in making the world a better place. It's simply be the change you wish to see in the world. Okay, thank you everybody. I appreciate it.